guys, a lot of you have been waiting for this review, so I finally am done with several projects with it, so I can start the whole series. Yes, you will have in the meantime other tutorials. I'm not gonna kill you with mica powders, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the DecorRom mica powders that I fell in love with. So number one, I'm not doing an unboxing because obviously I had to unbox them in order to work with them and test them and experiment and all that. But they come in this awesome little box. I was never able to put them back in the box as they came. You know what it is, always happens that way. You have them boxed nicely, and whenever you try to box them back, they never work. They never fit. So anyway, there are 20 colors, and they are all awesome colors. They come in these cute little bottles, and I can tell you it's a little bit more than the small jars of Perlex. They only have a few that are actually have names of metal. But even if they don't have the name of metal, they still look like metal. The only ones that have names of metal are the gold and the bronze. I hope I'm not messing up anything. The silver is actually gray, and the copper is actually wine, and then there's another one that's called chestnut that's also kind of copper-ish. But anyway, they have beautiful colors. Yeah, this is the chestnut. It's kind of like bronzish, copperish, I don't know. They have gorgeous colors. The only thing that they don't have, and I'm kind of miffed about it, they don't have interference colors. You know, the colors that look one way on white and another way on black. Yeah, no, they don't have that. As you can see, the presentation is really gorgeous. When you open them, let me see if there is any that I didn't open so I can show you. I think I opened this one. I opened this one. They come with the little, yeah, see this, they come with the little plastic here that I promise you it's quite hard to remove. Don't try to remove it like this because it's going to be a pain. The easiest way to remove it is just grab your X-Acto knife and then just go like this, and there you go, you're done. Just make sure that you clean real good, otherwise it's really hard to open them if you try to, you know, undo this thing like this. Now, what are they good for and how do we apply them? Of course, they work on polymer clay. They have to be applied before baking the polymer clay, the same way as you apply Perlex and other mica powders that we've been working with. They can be mixed in the polymer clay, and they give a beautiful pearlescent clay. Of course, you mix them in translucent. The same as, now as a con, the same as Perlex, you need to seal them after you use them, because otherwise they rub off, and they rub off maybe a little bit more than Perlex, but not as much as other mica powders. What is a beautiful pro is the fact that the mica grain is super tiny. I couldn't really find anywhere written what's the micron on it. So I wouldn't be able to tell you, but it's definitely a very, very, very tiny micron. The other thing is, because they are so tiny, again, a con is that definitely you need to wear a mask when you're working with them, otherwise you risk inhaling. The pro is because the mica powder has such a small grain, that means that you can obtain beautiful faux metal look, very, very, very realistic. I mean, it's even, the mica powder is even smaller than the one in my my nail polish. Other things, they are not, what I like about them is that the mica itself, it's colored. That's the main, and I asked before starting experimenting with them, I asked with the manufacturer if it was a pigment mica or if it was a colored mica. What's the difference between a pigment mica and a colored mica? The pigment micas have the regular mica in them, and then they have a pigment color. And you can notice that as the big difference. You can notice that, for example, in the Premo purple pearl, violet pearl, I forgot how it's called, where the mica is colored blue, but the clay itself is colored violet. And why is that very important? Because when you try to make certain things, you want your mica itself to be colored. To give you an example, if you want, for example, to do let's say for tiger's eye, right? You have all the colors in the tiger's eye. If the mica powder, the pearlescence and metallics clays you were using were not, the mica wasn't colored, then you'd actually have brown or gold clay, but all with the same color of the mica powder itself. Now, I'm not saying that these have no pigment whatsoever. They do have some pigment, but as you can notice, the mica itself is colored. So I think that it's not, personally, I don't think it's a natural mica. I think it's some type of synthetic mica. But as you can see, the mica itself is colored, and that gives a beautiful beautiful effect. And because it blends and mixes so well with the translucent clay, you can make all kinds of pearlescent clays for yourself. And yeah, we'll do a tutorial about that too. One of the tutorials is already posted to come in a premiere in a few hours. Another one will come soon in a few days. I'll schedule it. I want to put something in between, hopefully, so as I said, not to get you all tired of mica powders. And then, yes, there will be one or two tutorials, because these can be also used in resin, and they look beautiful in resin. They can do some beautiful effects, and actually it says here that they are for slime, for epoxy resin, for soap and bath bombs, and they are non-bleeding. What is non-bleeding? That means that the pigment will not bleed. And it is true, even when I put several of them in between sheets of clay, it did not bleed. The color did not bleed through the clay. I only did that for a week, so I don't know if it would happen. But who leaves the polymer clay raw for a week? You know, I mean, that's not going to work. So, as I said, it needs to be sealed after you apply it. I did several things, and I sealed it with actually the Sculpey gloss glaze works beautiful. The homemade do-it-yourself shellac varnish works great, and then all kinds of other all the other regular varnishes work beautiful on it. And yes, you can mix it in liquid clay, and you can mix it in the varnish itself before applying, so you get a few even more effects, because you can make your own pearlescent-y metallic-y varnish if you want. But let's do just a little bit, let's play with it, and I'm going to show you with the, for example, as I said, it doesn't really have a mica named, a color named silver. It has the gray. Now what happens with the gray, if you use, and I have here a piece of scrap clay that I molded in the small Premo marketing molds. I will put all kinds of links, but anyway, the main link that's going to be underneath is the one for the DecorRom, and they are barely $20 for 20 colors. So you get, it's a really good deal for your money. And I love that they have all kinds of color, including pinks. And the only thing that I was disappointed about is that they do not have red. They have this thing that's called cherry, but I did not find red. And just as a secret, red is very hard to find in mica powders. I tried at least a couple dozen of different mica powders of various brands that are calling themselves red, and actually I found only 2 that are actually red, and I use those in several projects and tutorials, including the 4-Peter to obtain the real red that's in the 4-Peter. But let's go ahead and play a little bit with the watercolors. And at this point I'm going to stop and I'm going to change the camera angle so you can see better how it looks like, because if I tried before, and if I go from this angle you won't be able to see how pretty it is. So let me switch the camera angle. So I'm going to try this way, even if it is a little bit uncomfortable for me because I have the camera between me and the piece, but let's do this. The only thing I found is a little bit of a con for myself, because I have long fingernails. It's kind of hard to grab something with the top of my nails. So if I want to do just the surface, I have to take some on my paintbrush and then just dab it on the tip of my finger, and then go to town with it. But as I said, the gray by itself will give you the effect of antique oxidized silver, and it looks very pretty, very pretty. If you want to obtain a look of newer silver, you need to mix a little bit of pearl in that, but I'll show you the secret with this. In order to obtain the real metallic look, you need to burnish it, and burnish it quite a bit, real nice, until all the mica powder is nicely burnished, and that's when you won't be able to see any more of the mica grain, because that's what makes micas most of the time not give the real metal look. The fact that the mica grain is too big and it can be noticed. And that's the same valid for all kinds of metallicizers like waxes and other things. That's why some are better than others. But as you can see, it's got a, try and get it higher, it's got a pretty nice ancient silver look. Now let's see what happens if I'm going to burnish this all in, including in the recessed parts. And you'll see how the whole thing changes all of a sudden. And as I said, burnish, 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 burnish. You'll need to work with it. You'll need a paintbrush with very soft hairs. And this is how it looks like when you go full in, not just with the surface. But let's see what happens when we apply some white pearl. Actually, it's called pearl, not white, into it. And this one I'm going to definitely do, let me clean the brush, I'm going to definitely do it more on the surface first, so I can show you the differences. Let me use this finger because I barely have any feeling in my index finger. So it changes instantaneously. I hope the camera can pick up this. It changes the so-called silver look almost instantaneously, and then let's see what happens when we go full white over silver. And that's the other good thing, you can do one on top of the other and you change the whole aspect of it. And depending on how much you want to apply, and then you can go more and you can make it even whiter. Of course, if you want to go for a quite nice, this is a secret I'm gonna tell you, if you want to go for a really sterling silver looking like, you apply first the gray on white pearl polymer clay, and then on top of that you apply the pearl mica powder. So first you apply the gray on white pearl, and then you apply the mica powder. And again, as I said, you must burnish really nice for all this to work. And then once you varnish it, it will look beautiful and very metal like. As you can see, this one looks like a little more nickel like. Now let's go ahead and see how it looks on, let me cover this up, when we try to make a combination. And I did here, this is some gray scrap clay, the same as I used here. It's some gray scrap clay on that I went through the machine with the jitterbug of Helen Braille. And let's play a little bit with more intense colors. I'm going to get and you get a beautiful oil slick effect if you mix the colors. So I'm going to place a little bit of lavender here and a little bit of lavender here. And then clean the brush. Then let's get a blue, and this is the blueberry. And yes, they do have this thing, but I'd rather not use it because I don't know how much comes off, because they have like a shaker type lid. So I'm going to use some blueberry. And then one thing for gold, and you will see in the tutorial that I'll be posting later today, the gold is beautiful, but if you apply it by itself, it will look more like those cheapo Chinese gold ornaments. If you want to obtain a real gold, mix it with a little bit of pearl and some chestnut, and you will get a real good. And depending on you can add even some wine of the copperish kind, and it will give you the look of red gold. So let's use some cherry here. And some green, of course. This is the Kiwi, which is a beautiful color. It has like 3 different greens. I'll show you the colors here in a minute after I'm done with this. And all the colors are very vibrant, very vibrant. And there's quite a bit of all of them. This is a chartreuse that to me looks more like kiwi than the kiwi does. Kiwi, not kiwi. Sorry, I was pronouncing it the Romanian way. Romanian is a phonetic language, so we read exactly how it's written. Okay, blue, what is this? I'd use this. This is a violet, and the lavender is more violet than the violet. But hey, we've had this before in other. Let's get some here, and let's get some here. And there's a yellow, and there's an orange as well. So this is the yellow that I didn't open yet. Just a second. As I said, we go like this. Because otherwise it's going to be a pain. And yes, I'm going to have to clean my table a lot. But let's get a little bit of yellow. And the yellow is actually a little bit more metallic than the yellow in the Pearlex. That's the problem with the Pearlex. The colors that are colors, they are not very metallic-y. These ones seem to be. Even if they don't look like it in the jar, I assure you that they are once you start working them in. And let's do a pink, because I didn't do any kind of pink. And there's a pink and there's a fuchsia as well, but the fuchsia also looks a little copperish. Okay, let's do the pink here and here, and go with the fuchsia. And then you'll see once I start burnishing them in, I didn't open the fuchsia either. As I said, I didn't test all the colors. I was mostly interested in the metallic, but not only, in other things as well. And you will absolutely love, I have the stuff is out there to cure, but you will love some of the effects you can do in resin. So let's apply a little bit of the fuchsia. And let's start mixing it. So I'm just going to go on each of them as I apply them and get them a little mixed in. Yes, I'm using the other part of the clay to clean my brush. And now I can kind of go full. And once I'm doing that, after that I'm going to start burnishing the color in, and we'll start to see the magic. It looks fabulous. I'm just trying to find the best let's see. There we go. The best angles to show all the beauty of the colors. And once it's like this, you cannot see much. I'll show you when I lift it and I start moving it around how pretty it looks. And now let's get the oil slick effect. To get a proper oil slick effect, once you burnish this, you need to come back just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, and encourage the mixing of the colors. Get a bit over area that you had placed the mica in already, because first you had to place some to color the background clay, and then you have to, where's my pink, I lost my pink, there you go. And then you have to place some mica to create the mix, the gradient, when the two colors start mixing with each other. And get some more of this lavender. As I said, you don't have to open them all the way, but as you know, I have twitches in my hands, so I never know if I won't start pouring too much. You've seen me doing that with resin, because that's what happens when you have nerve damage. So it's easier for me to just use this. It's much easier. So just leave a little bit extra powder on the clay after you apply the first. And let me just place one little bit more of green. Let me get the sharpeners. And then once I do the gold again, I'll just start burnishing for the final effect. And now the gold. And now we can start again going to town. And now the real mix starts happening with the gradients and all that. I know, now from this angle it doesn't look like much, but this is when the magic started happening. You'll see here in a minute. I'll lift it and show you. It makes a beautiful, beautiful oil slick effect. And there we go. This way. As you can see, it's absolutely fabulous. Let me get with that lower light so you can see how it looks like in lower light. And this is pretty much natural light, so this is how it will look in natural light. But I have to use that lighting for my videos. But yeah, as you can see, it's super fabulous. And as I said, the only thing is that, the same as Perlex, you will have to seal it. So if you have any other questions, remember the next tutorial is a premiere, and I will start doing premieres as much as I can if I can be online, because when I am online, the premieres allow a live chat, but the live chat will not be replayed when after the premiere. So if you have any questions, you'll have to ask them in the comments. So this is the DecorRom. I am in love with it. Just give it a try. I'm sure that you will fall in love with it as well. But I will post the links in the video description, and I am looking forward to show you what beautiful things you can make with these, using these mica powders. Happy clean!